And there we are. We are. Nope. It's with the wrong damn name. But it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. All right. Well, with that, let us make sure. Still recording. Cool. All right. We will get started here then in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Our Take on Hollyoaks. My name is Jonathan, and I am your host for the day. And joining me, we have our resident. Honestly, she's becoming as much of a podcaster as I am sometimes. Tony Ann. Hey, Tony Ann, how are
Hey,
you?
pretty good. Is this my first time on OurTake Hollyoaks?
No, can't be. It can't be. I don't know. You're the one that like the historian here, so I feel like you would
I
know.
feel like it might be.
I don't think so, but maybe. But maybe. You know what? Either way, I'm happy to have you on.
I'm happy
And
to be here.
it's we've got some interesting stuff to talk about. It was a lighter week here in the Chester soap, but you know what? We've got some cool content to talk about. We got a new trailer. We've got a little bit of news and the start of the year. So, what do you say? You want to just dive right in?
Let's go.
Okay, so first up, I didn't put this in the outline, but when I was thinking about it, a little piece of news did break, and I think it's important we talk about it. And that's that Jeremy Edwards came out and said that he will not be returning to the soap as Kurt Benson after the wording he used, the judgment he received online. But basically, due to the Twitter trolls and the reaction he was getting on Instagram and Facebook and various social media platforms, he's just decided, you know what, for his mental health, he's not going to come back to another stint, even though he was asked back. What did you think of Kurt's story, considering you didn't see him outside of maybe a couple favorite episodes the first time around? And are you sad that he's not returning?
Um, honestly, no. Um, I didn't really feel that attached to his character, and I kind of feel the way that Ashley did. Like it served no purpose. There were a couple moments that I liked. Like I kind of liked that Kurt was the one that kind of made Tony realize that something is not right in terms of his dad, but beyond that, the whole Ponzi scheme or whatever he was doing, like I didn't really care. I didn't really understand it. It didn't really feel like it made sense. It was definitely not something you could tell that was the original plan. So I'm okay if we don't see Kurt
See,
again.
I think it was the original plan. I think they just maybe missed some of the the middle
You
portion
think
of
they
the story.
shortened it?
Yeah, I think it was very shortened from what the initial plan was. I think the beginning and end probably were the same, but like the guts of the middle is what I think probably got destroyed by COVID. And that's not an
And the beginning and
excuse.
the end is the only thing that I liked. The guts is where they lost me.
I think so too. The end for me was fine, but it set up, a story with who was on the other line that I don't think we're ever going to get now, and I'm kind of sad for that. I'm mostly sad that we're not going to, I guess, get the real payoff of the Back from the Dead. Because none of his family know. None of his family got to interact. One of the theories or thoughts that I was talking about on um, one of the Discord channels that I'm in, hosted by Sam, was talking about like what what if this was a way to bring in a new generation of Bensons onto the show and kind of have it, echo like the original series with him and his sister. What if Kurt during all this hiatus, you know, that's a missed opportunity to not have some kids spring out of the woodwork, right? Like there's just so much they could have done, and there's just it wasn't there this time. And while I wasn't a fan of him, I don't agree with some of the things and the way people were speaking to him online. Like
Oh, that is
that's
100% not
that's
okay.
there's never a good time to at somebody if you don't like them. If you don't, just scroll on. Like that's fine. I keep my opinions right to myself, and I just move on because that's the right thing to do. But one of the tweets that came out right before he announced it, and it's deleted now, but it was something along the lines of, "Hey, uh, can you explain to me why Kurt ate Jambo and somebody else because he's like super fat now, or Jambo and Silas because he's super fat now?" And I was like, Jesus Christ, Jeremy Edwards does not look bad, like
No, he
at
doesn't. I
all,
mean,
and people are like abusive towards this man, and it's just disheartening for
it
sure.
is. I mean, you guys scared him away from a paycheck.
During COVID,
Like, I mean,
like it's
part
crazy, but
and it's part of me is also like I feel like if you're an actor, you should kind of have a thicker skin and should know that you should just ignore the trolls, but I also know that it's really hard when they're being that cruel.
it's something where, well, that's what we see a lot with Kieran Richardson, right? Like people are awful to him for the character of Steve, right? And the things that they say and the way that they treat him is not acceptable at all. But we'll see when it gets too much for him. He's like, you know what? I need to just avoid social media, and he'll deactivate his account. And I'm curious because I really feel like, especially with everything that went on with Stephanie Davis, like there, I don't know for a fact, but I want to believe that there is outlets and there's help at Channel 4 and at Line Productions for these actors, and that they can go to, and that they're taking care of their actors and giving them outlets and resources when they go in and be like, hey, when people are the scum of the internet, because they are, this is what to do. This is who you can reach out to. We're here for you, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like they are, or I want to
I would
believe they
hope
are,
so.
but I think they have that. And I'm just hoping that he doesn't let this bring him down. I'm, I'm good if he doesn't return. I'm not going to lie, but I do feel bad for him that the reason that he's not returning isn't because it's his choice, but because it's his choice because for
That he
his
was
mental
forced
health.
into.
Correct. Like that just doesn't sit well with me because online bullies are just
The
awful,
worst.
the worst.
Now, do you think I know you said that recasting is not something that Hollyoaks does,
There's not a need to recast Kurt Benson.
but would they if they wanted to tell a story?
No, they just wouldn't tell the story. They would just take that story and give it to somebody else. Like that's 100% if they're gonna do something. What they would do, they're not gonna recast Kurt at this point. There's not a need. Like Ollie was different. Ollie got
Yeah,
recast because it was in the
of the
midst
flash
of the
forward.
story and it was a flash forward, and they wrote themselves into a corner. I really believe had Ollie not been in the flash forward, we wouldn't have seen Ollie again. And
Do you
if we
think
did,
that
it wouldn't be
Ollie
for
will stick
years.
around now that the
Yes,
flash forward is over?
yes, he's there. They've already recast. Like that's fine. Like once you've recast and you're there, like fine, they'll serve a purpose and they'll keep going. But I don't think like an initial recast. Like we were talking about last week with potentially recasting Imran Adams and bringing on a new Mitchell. Like yeah, they could, but it'll be a while if they do it, and there has to be like a very like I'm it's so rare for Hollyoaks to do it that I would be surprised if they wasted it on Kurt, especially considering how iconic that character is to the old viewers, and that's really the only reason to have him on. You know, I don't see that happening.
But I'm surprised, given how iconic the character of Kurt was and is, that he wasn't more well received.
But that honestly was due to the story, right? Like,
Yeah,
what was there for people to engage in? Like it was not firing on all cylinders, in my opinion. It was something that it was like a C plot, that they just kind of played out for a few weeks, and now like that's it. It didn't change anything, didn't affect anything. It just kind of was there, and I think
The
it
only
might
thing
have
it
been to
affected was
start the
Darren and
conflict.
Mandy.
Exactly, but even then, not really. Like, not not really at all. It affected them kind of for the episodes that they were on, but then like afterwards, like I think they should be struggling a lot more, and we should be seeing that a lot more. But like they seem to be able to do rebounds back pretty okay. Do you disagree?
No, no, you're not
Okay,
wrong.
like it's like there was this outline of a story, and there's a fun thing that they could have done, and it's just like no, they didn't go there. That's
Yeah,
it's
they
it's not
pivoted
even
away from it.
yeah, it's not even a factor anymore. So whatever. My heart goes out to Jeremy Edwards. We're wishing you the best, and we'll see what happens. But don't don't hurry back anytime soon. It's okay. So let's talk about this New Year's trailer. So I think you agree with me. This is a much more subtle trailer. I think the real purpose of
Yeah.
it though was to announce and promote the fact that they're going back to 5 days a week. That was
Yes.
the purpose of this trailer. It wasn't meant to be, oh my god, let's get on the hype train. Let's see people die and be like shocked and crazy. It's setting up some story points which we're about to talk about, but it's mostly discussing the fact that um, the show's
They're
going
going
back to
back to
5 days,
5 days.
right? Starting next week,
Now,
and
why did they delay the reveal of this trailer? Because it was originally supposed to come out one day, and then it
yeah,
came out a day later.
because Boris Johnson made his lockdown announcement that day.
Oh,
So
okay.
the trailer was going to be released, and then Boris announced that hey, he was doing a press conference, and nobody knew what the you know lockdown was going to entail. Would they still be able to film? Would they still be able to work? Would they still be able to do everything?
So they
That
didn't want to announce they were going back to 5 days if, in fact, they didn't know that they were.
correct. It is at least the argument I'm giving, because let's be real, that that seemed like the biggest point of it. Like, yes, they had announced the 5 days was coming already on social media and around, but when you're doing such a huge promo campaign,
Yeah.
because they've got, as you saw, like there's a lot of like going on with each day and being a huge thing. Like to
Yeah,
do that,
it was the stickiest promo they've ever done.
yeah, it was Friday, yo. So all right, let's talk about the trailer though. All right, so I'm going to just throw it around here, and we'll get through some of these points pretty fast, and then we'll dive into some of them a little bit more. What is your thoughts on, I guess, the whole Devereaux dynasty disaster we got going on now? Because we have Toby and is revealed to Felix as being a murderer, but he's not going to kill him because he wants him to give his to donate his organ to Walter. But now Walter's pushing Toby and Cleo, and I'm just
I
ready for the
wish.
story to kick into high gear and just be able to move.
Yeah. Um, I feel like the momentum on this story left when Mitchell left,
Yes.
and they're kind of in a holding pattern right now.
That
And
100% agree.
and I need them to transition out of it quickly, and I need Celeste to interact with other people that are not her family.
Yes. Like I said, let's get Celeste laid 2020 hashtag. Make
2021,
it happen.
yes.
2021, whatever. I don't know if she need to get laid in 2022. I
I mean, she did
need
get laid in 2020, but we
more.
didn't get nearly as much of it as we should have.
More. But really, like, that's the thing. Celeste needs to start evolving outside that element. I also want to see Felix and Martine a little bit more. Like,
Yes, I love them.
I need
See,
to-
that's when I'm back invested in the story, but Toby just takes me out of it.
Yeah, he's just, I don't know. I think I'm just over the big bad scenario. Because
We've
we go
had
from
so
one
many,
after another,
yeah.
after another, after another, after another, and it's back to back to back. And I'm just kind of like, eh. Mainly because I think Felix will kick his ass.
Oh,
Like,
100%. 100%.
so I don't buy him as like this big bad when Daddy's gonna come and like
Because
destroy him.
Toby is, I mean, granted, Toby has killed Lisa and Toby attacked Felix, but Toby is basically all bark and no bite because the minute he bites, he cries. If you think about it, every time he attacks, he immediately, like, he doesn't own his darkness. Like, once he does something, it's immediately like he starts weeping and crying, and it just completely turns me off. Like, if he could just stay in his anger, I think I could be attached to him more, if that makes sense.
Yep, I think that's a perfect example. So okay, let's move on and talk about some more fun stuff. County Line Drugs. Holy snap! It's still going, and I'm
Ugh,
still so invested, mainly because of our Sid.
I know. And if you had told me that the storyline that I would be the most invested in going into all of 2020 and going into 2021 was a story about drug dealers and I would be rooting for drug dealers, I would have told you you were insane.
I love everything
But
about that. Like, and the fact that, gosh, they're not going to forget that he's got a fake leg. We made fun of it last week, but like that's so important. And seeing that prosthetic, like, and his reactions to it all the time, right? Like that missing limb. It's so good.
it's so good. And I actually trust that Hollyoaks will make that a through line. Sid is not going to become Philip Kiriakis.
Thank the Lord. All right. So, what did you think of the arrival of or reintroduction of Trish and Maxine's new man?
Well, this is my first exposure to the character of Trish. Have we seen her
So,
before now?
Trish is a recast.
Okay.
So she wasn't like a main character before, but she was played by Paula Wolfenden, I believe, back in 2010 through I think 2012. Just in like this reoccurring um, role where she just pop in and out. She's much younger, but they, I think, knew that they were going to get this actress onto the role, so they just kind of re-brought her back because she was Joan. Like this is why I don't think the Silas story is over, which we'll get to in a little bit, because she's Joan Blissett's half sister. So she's Silas's half sister-in-law.
Okay, I remember
So
you mentioned this on last week's Our Take,
yeah,
Hollyoaks.
so it's going to be interesting to see if there's any elements played there. I think it'd be weird if they didn't um, have at least a little something there. But overall, like I'm really excited to see what Hollyoaks has in store for the character of Trish.
Yeah,
I think that it's going to be really interesting to see Denise Welch in the role. She seemed like she's having a lot of fun in it. She reminds me of like a young Nana McQueen.
yeah.
So like I'm really interested to see what she does there. The new character Brad King looks interesting. I don't
Please don't
know.
make him a bad guy.
I I don't know. I don't want him to be a bad guy either.
I
I
get a
think
weird
having
vibe of
him.
him off the promo.
Oh, me too. Like honestly, if we hadn't already made Maxine a whore, I would have definitely thought he would be the one pimping her out. Um, just I got those vibes from him,
Yeah.
but I'm really interested to see like how they do the triangle between them, and if it's gonna be like a full blown triangle or what it's gonna be.
But we just
I'm just
saw a mother daughter triangle with Jordan, Leela, and Perry. I don't really want to go down this road again.
yeah, but this one's with adults.
I mean, true, but I
I
don't
mean,
know.
yeah, no, I get you. It's going to be interesting to see, nevertheless. So I'm excited to get down in the dirt there. Sienna, Brody, Warren, and Summer is getting heated up. where do you fall? We talked last week with Ashley and Corian and got their opinions on Sienna and Brody and Sienna and Warren. Where does your heart lie for
My
these
heart
couples?
lies with Sienna. I just want Sienna to be happy, and I agree. I think Ashley said that the issue with that she had in this story was mainly Brody, and that's my issue too. Brody's lack of faith in her is really starting to annoy me. And it's really coming across like she's settling for Brody because she thinks Brody is what she should have, and she's ignoring the obvious issues in their relationship to have the thing that she thinks she needs. But Warren is very clearly
Mm.
who understands her, very clearly what makes her happy. But I think she's afraid that if she's with Warren, she's going to become the person that she was before, and she doesn't want to go down that road.
Definitely, I could see that. I'm just really loving having Sienna and Warren in their same orbit again. I'm loving, like I said, Brody. He can cry on a dime, and my heart will break. I love New Summer. I really do
I kind of
enjoy
do
her.
too.
I need
And
her to
I
become a
wasn't
character though, because right now she's just kind of there.
I think she's starting to though because I totally think that she's sending
Mm-hmm.
that picture to Brody on purpose. Cuz did you see the look on her face when she in the promo when she was looking at the picture of them? Like she had
Mm-hmm.
a look on her face. Do you think that she knows what Brody did to her dad?
I don't know. Like there are times where I definitely get that vibe that she knows a little bit more than she's letting on. So I wouldn't be surprised, but she also doesn't seem to be like plotting revenge of any type. So,
But she's
um,
definitely taking the opportunity. She
it's
might just
true.
be kind of biding her time and getting close to try to figure out how to destroy him. And the minute she gets the ammunition, which she did in that picture.
Yep, that is true. That is true. We'll just have to tune in and find out. But that brings us to the last major story that we're going to discuss because all the seven deadly sin stuff we're going to discuss when we actually discuss the stories of the week. But that's what started off on today's C4 and continued into the E4 episode written by our Johnny Lorcan. Oh my God, John Paul and George are getting involved in this domestic violence story, and I'm here for it. I'm
I gotta say,
so
I gotta
here
give you props
for
because
all of
we
it.
were discussing this on Twitter, I think last week or the week before, and I didn't think they were going here. And you 100% saw it coming,
Mm-hmm.
and
He's
here we
gonna get
are.
that ass beat. I'm so excited, not even in a good way. But this coercive, they're calling it coercive control, and I think that's so important. Like the dialogue that we're gonna get here is so important. Because yes, I saw like the pieces of the puzzle all just falling into place. Like the way George has been treating him over the year, the little like hints we got about his last relationship, the just way that George is when he's around John Paul. Like
The body bag
it's
manipulation.
exactly like I think we're going to have a very good long-standing story, and I think so. I'm going to talk about today's episode a little bit because we saw in the trailer what George did was so brilliant. He manipulated John Paul, treated him like trash, and then made John Paul be the one to touch him first.
So what
You
he
saw it in
so
the
that what
trailer.
he did
Mm-hmm.
was reactionary.
Exactly, dude. It's. I mean, if you hadn't, we just did what blokes do, right? We just got
It's
physical. You put your hands on me. I just defended myself. This is what it is, and he made it into something that John Paul is like doing, and it's gonna just continue to be little things that he does to just manipulate John Paul to get him further away from the family and destroy him. And I'm so excited for all of it because
I I wonder though, do you think the I think the emotional abuse and manipulation is almost going to be worse than the physical.
oh yes, 100%. But also, I think the physical's gonna be pretty bad. Like, I think he's gonna get pretty. bad in the end. Like, I think we've got a while to go, but we don't see subjects like this covered in USA soaps at all. But
Ever.
even in like the UK soaps, like same-sex domestic abuse isn't a story that's often told, and it's so important, especially from a man's perspective, because again, we're told by society, men don't get abused. It's just blokes being blokes, right? It's just guys being guys. They just need to buck up and take it and be able to move on. But that's not the case. And what's happening here is going to be such an important storyline that opens up so much dialogue for people. And I trust Hollyoaks, especially the regime that's on it and the writers that are heavily involved and that have been promoting it on Twitter. Like, they've done the research, they've done the effort, and I'm really excited to see. I think this is going to be the story to watch in
Yeah.
2021 for sure.
I agree. And it's going to be interesting too, because now that John Paul is living at the dog with the rest of the McQueens, do you think his family are going to notice right away?
I don't think it's going to be right away at all. I think because I think the next step you see is George is going to get him out of the house. Like, he's going to get him locked away where he can control the situation more. And I think you're going to see a situation where maybe he has to distance himself from his son too, because we haven't seen Matthew Jesus COVID in a while.
I was going to say that's because of COVID, right?
Yep, exactly. But I would be surprised if he just sent Matthew Jesus off to go be with Myra and all Teresa's kids and everything else, and we got some just really interesting stories being played out here.
This is the story that I'm most excited for. And next to the Seven Deadly Sins stuff, this was the most excited I was in the promo.
Yeah, the Seven Deadly Sins stuff, like, I was interested in, but you know what? Why don't we just move on there? So let's talk about that now, right? So, what in the Silas hell? Like, I just what? The confrontation scenes were really good.
I love them.
Like, one, let's start with Mercedes is so smart. The way she played her family. And
yes,
the way she gave a different man that she was sleeping with to each
that
of them.
was so brilliant. Oh my God.
Walter. I want Nana so bad to go up to Walter and be like, "You were a man of the Lord." Like, and be like,
could
"What?"
you? And just walk away.
And just walk away. Like, you could have had all of this and you got that. And just walk away. Like, I love it. I love everything about it. I loved everybody's reactions to it. When she told Goldie she slept with Grace, and she's like, I mean, I get it. Like, I had like an experience back in college a few times. Like, it just is what it is. You just do what you do. And like,
so
Mercedes
perfect.
was like, can we just talk about me? Like, I don't want to know. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to think about it. Let's talk about me.
It was one of the smartest things I've seen Mercedes do. And I will say, coming into 2020, I could not stand Mercedes. Like, 2019 did a lot of damage to her for me. But throughout this year and now going into 2021, I love her again.
She's Mercedes McQueen, bitch.
And it's perfect.
I love her so much. But she then, so Seth got a hold of Bobby, and then Silas got a hold of Bobby, and then Bobby got let loose, and Silas played a game of cat and mouse with Mercedes, and that confrontation scene had so much weight into it. And it really, like, I hate Silas. He's a creepy, awful old man. And the way he threw the loss of her children in her face.
I was repulsed by that. But you're supposed to be repulsed by Silas.
Exactly. Like, he did everything the right way. Like, this is the creepy Stefano DiMera type, the creepy master manipulator, the creepy, like, big boss. Like, he is the baddest. But then as soon as I was finished being creeped out, as soon as I was, like, on the edge of my seat waiting to see what happens next, and he was going to murder Mercedes, right? Then Teresa bonks him over the head, and the story
Did you
kind of just
expect that
moves
to
on.
did you expect that to be Teresa or did you expect that to be Bobby?
Teresa, yeah, because now they gotta start rebuilding her and say it, salvaging her, right? So now she saved her mercy, so she's able to be one of the family.
But
Like,
is the story over? Because wasn't there something where like Bobby's gonna end up playing chess with his grandfather? I
well,
saw.
that's how the story ended, right? So Silas gives Bobby a call and he's like, "Hey, you know what? We'll see you again at some point." Blah blah blah. But until then, here's an app to download and get good. And it was a chess app, and I guess they're gonna start like playing, and he's gonna start manipulating his grandchild through that, and it's
Which
just like,
I don't really
ugh.
think he's gonna be able to manipulate Bobby. This is the same kid who went around terrorizing his own mother. So,
Yeah, I don't think he knows what he's getting involved with. But you know what? I'm glad that Silas is still out there, but I need, if he returns again, I need the stakes a little bit higher. Also, I'm sorry, I still don't buy Seth's involvement. Like, I get it. Like, he said that he doesn't talk to Jason, his brother, anymore. He says Mitzi he hasn't talked to in like since he was a child. No, sorry, Mitzi he hasn't talked to in a while, and then Maxine he hasn't seen since he was a child. Like, it makes sense that I guess the distance is there, but at the same point, like, I can't see him like really going all in with Silas. I just I get maybe it's a moment of weakness and whatever. I'm just I need more, and also I need to know like, should I be getting invested in Seth? Is Seth gonna be sticking around, or is he just here for this story, and then him and Teresa are gonna go off into the sunset together? Like, I got questions that I need the answers to.
and I'll be honest, I'm okay with it if they do go off into the sunset.
Well,
Teresa's the one
that's what I was
McQueen I'm
gonna
not
ask you.
attached
I
to.
was gonna ask you, what's your thoughts on Teresa now that you've kind of seen her?
I don't love her.
I love Georgie. Like, I do. I really enjoy the actress, but she gives me that, and I said this before, and I still see it. She gives me the Liberty vibes when
Before Liberty went
Liberty
crazy.
went. Yeah, exactly. When she was, just that fun character that was over here making songs. Like, that's what I get from Teresa. Is she's that pinup girl, right? She's that fun, bubbly blonde who just like is there, and she's not smart, but she does things, and she's a
And
good guy, and blah blah. And I don't know. I
I
just
don't know. She put her boyfriend above her family and she did all of this. She extorted money from her own family, which I get. Like, I don't know. It disconnected me from this whole thing. Like, I just didn't love that part of it. Like, I knew that there was going to be somebody who was obviously a mole for the McQueens. I didn't want it to be her, and knowing it was her, it just made me turned me off to the character.
yeah. I don't know. It's a story that I'm ready to move on from.
And
For
it started out so interestingly, like with the McQueens getting the like 777 texts. I was like, okay, what the hell's
mm-hmm.
happening here? Like,
I
it
agree.
had such a promising start and then it kind of whimpered to a close.
Well, I think it honestly after the like initial start, and I like the way that they did the sins for the McQueens, and they put them in there. But at points, some of it felt shoehorned, and the fact that they always talked in front of that damn doll, and were giving all their secrets out all the time. It's like, you guys are
You
not
sh-
this way.
you guys should be smarter than this.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I mean, aren't they known for running scams on the whole town at
Exactly.
various points? So how are you this stupid?
Exactly. But you know who else is stupid? Is Joel.
Oh
Joel,
God.
bless your heart. Keep it in your damn pants, father.
Please.
So he's now, I guess, breaking up with Goldie again.
Which, thank you,
Um,
because I did not like that relationship.
I'm, I don't, I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do with Joel going forward.
I
Maybe
feel like they're
Celeste.
gonna try to do Joel and Cleo because they're together in real life and we can actually get romance on the
They're
show.
like, yeah, we can do this. But Cleo's got Toby. So
Yeah, but if Toby's gonna go nuclear, Joel's probably gonna save her from Toby.
Is Joel gonna be the one who saves her from the awful tyranny that is Toby? Probably. Let's be real. But you know what? I That's it. That's all I got for you. Like, it's a story that aired, and I'm fine with it. Like, I like
I did
all
feel
the parties
something.
involved, but
I did feel something when Joel and Cleo kissed. I was like, okay, I could be on board with this. Were you expecting Celeste to be the one to have seen them?
no, I don't know who I expected. I wasn't expecting Celeste, but I think it works mainly because of the Toby element. It just builds up another layer of information, another part that she's keeping from him for him to snap later. And I'm excited, like I said, for the denouement of that story. So her other story though was obviously dealing with Toby and Felix and getting that all ramped up. And I guess, like I said during the trailer discussion, I'm just ready to see. I don't understand why they keep delaying Walter's like surgery if it's this life threatening.
I
I
think
don't
it's
understand how
something they
that
have to wait
works.
for his like levels to level out or something. Like I think they said something like if they did the surgery now, like he would actually be in more danger or something.
I know, but come back in 6 months. I'm like, but what? Like, okay, like I'm not gonna say I kind of understand, but medical field, but I'm very just like,
I feel like
oh
they're doing it for a medical reason because Hollyoaks is not, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Hollyoaks doesn't seem like the show to do something for plot point of a reason. Like
I disagree. This is definitely like this. Why did Walter all of a sudden need a transplant? And
Okay, true.
why did Toby have to end up being the only one to, be a match? Like, it's very plot driven, and it tells me like, hey, we just want to drag the story out a little bit longer. So it's fine.
But I need Celeste to stop being Toby's savior. She needs to stop protecting him
Yeah, but that's like
because
her family. Like, I get that. That's the only family she knew for the longest time. It's the only one that she had any attachment to.
I get the dynamic, but I think at this point now, it's almost a detriment to her as a character to make the only thing that she's there for at this point is to be Toby's protector. That's all she is. That's all she's ever been. And she's been on this show almost a year.
Yep.
And we still don't have anything for her beyond that. And she deserves more. The actress playing her is amazing. She's a
Amazing. I'm
goddess
jelly.
of
God bless.
she's a goddess of a woman who deserves the world, and I feel like Hollyoaks is not giving it to her.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I I'm curious to see, like I said, once this one wraps up, where they do with her. Um, I also feel like I think we're gonna try and drag this out to be climax during the all black episode.
I was going to say, is that where this is going? Do we know when that's airing? We know that's this year.
It's this year. That's really it. I don't.
I'm going to assume it's going to be in February.
I think it's no, because that's not their Black History Month. Their Black
Oh,
History Month
okay.
is October.
Oh, please, God, don't drag this till October.
And then uh I thought this was for George Floyd's death.
Which was in May.
Which was in May. Yeah, no, it's gonna be autumn.
Huh.
Black Takeover is autumn 2021.
Oh my God, we have to deal with this story for an entire
Maybe,
year.
maybe. I mean, we don't know
Lord
for
help
sure.
us.
But it's gonna be interesting to see.
Hmm.
Um, but that's what I got. I believe it's supposed to be an hour-long episode too. So
I'm excited for the episode. I just hope that maybe. Oh, wait.
yeah.
6 months
So
from now.
Holly, yep, Hollyoaks will showcase a special hour-long episode entirely written, directed, and performed by the show's black talent. The episode will spotlight our black cast, among whom are the Devereaux, our well-established three-generational black family who have had some of the year's biggest story, is what was announced when they kicked it off. So, I'm trying to see. Like, I don't think they gave a date
I
for
wonder
it.
if it's going to be the transplant episode.
It could be. Like that's it could be. So we'll see. We got a few more months to go until that comes, but I'm excited to see. And it just means they've got some long story and they planned it out. That's I think ultimately what I'm happy about. So
Me too.
we'll just see how it goes. See how it goes. That leads us to the last thing we got to talk about, and that's the fallout of the flash forward New Year's death as Darren, Nancy, and Mandy dealt with and struggled with the revelation that Ella killed Jordan.
Okay, I want to kick this off by saying Jordan was nowhere on my list of suspects of who was going to be in the body bag. When it actually was Jordan, I was shocked. But I love the fallout of this.
I'm really enjoying the fallout. I think it's a smart way to also give the younger actors who are key roles in this also some time off so they can, if they need to, for school. But who knows what any of that even looks like in the UK right now. So I don't know if we're going to see more of them, less of them. But either way, I'm excited to see how this plays out because the actors who play Charlie is grown tremendously into the role. The actress that's playing Ella is doing a good job. But what this is doing for the adults and what this sets up for the adults is why I'm so excited.
Me too.
Because Mandy, one,
Oh,
okay, so when she was talking to Ella and she was basically listing off Charlie's parents' sins. And I'm like, Mandy, you are not the saint you paint yourself as at all. And had you literally been in Ella's position when you were her age, your dumbass would be over there be slinging smack too. Let's
um,
just be real.
do you also buy that she had no idea what they actually want? Like, as Ella was telling her about all this stuff, do you actually buy that she has no idea what any of that is?
Yeah, well, man, she's dumb. So yeah, like, and then like realistically, like she's not been involved that heavily in drugs in the past. I could be wrong. Um, but I don't think she's like that's especially with modern drugs. But I don't think she's as I don't think Mandy is as dumb as they play her sometimes because they tend to write her as if she's like a smarter Cindy, and they're not the same character. Like in
That
my
at
opinion,
all.
so it's just kind of weird how they play that off. But what this sets up for the fact that Mandy was lying once Ella finally confessed, she lied straight to Nancy's face.
Oh my God, I know. And the fact that she's going to basically let Darren's son go to jail to protect
Mm-hmm.
her daughter, that is going to bring so much drama. And that was a twist I did not see coming.
Charlie made his bed. Now he has to lie in it. What?
What? I mean, I
I
get it.
get it,
But,
but
like,
also,
that's also
eh,
your stepson.
and also self-defense. Lady, let's get you a good lawyer. She's just been like, all right, well, come on. Ella, you're coming with me. We're going to go talk to James real quick.
But again, the fact that Jordan was stabbed in the back, because they made a point of saying this, because Nancy even said it was self defense. The fact that Jordan was stabbed in the back makes it not self defense.
She was saving Charlie.
So it's defense of another.
Correct. It wasn't. I guess it was self defense, but it's still defense. Like she could still get off, and it's not that big a deal. But now they're gonna make her Charlie, like, go to real jail.
I like the scene where they had to tell him.
And he started crying.
I was a mess. And then the fight that Darren and Nancy had before they had the conversation with Charlie. And then that was juxtaposed with the conversation that Mandy and Ella were having. Like, I don't know, just
Mm-hmm.
something about all of that was just really brilliant for me.
The way that Nancy was like literally throwing up the fact that really Darren wasn't around all year,
No, because he
like
was, I mean, he was in
suffering from his
his.
depression, but still he was not around all year. She left. He left her to deal with his helping his father, helping raise his kids, to do everything by herself. Like he, she really laid
And
into it, rightfully so.
and Charlie's spiral really started after he found out about the affair.
Yep.
So it all, like Nancy said, we weren't we did not have our eye on the ball.
At all. They all let it off. That's why I'm gonna keep saying it till it happens. I need Justin Burton back. I need him to come back and just raise holy hell on Nancy and be like, I left you with my son, and what the hell did you do? Like you said, like I wasn't
Cuz
gonna be a good father for him. Girl, you let him, like, because of you, he literally got involved in drugs and killed somebody. Calm down. I need it
I
so bad.
and I've had that in my head as I was watching because I know that that's something that you wanted, and I wasn't sure where Justin had wound up. So I had
Yep.
actually asked you
He
if he was in jail.
Nope. He's not in jail. He's left in the back of a car with Russ, and that was that back years ago. Honestly, I think it was over a decade ago now. No, it was before 2011. I want to say it was like, dude, it's been a long time. I want to say 2009, 2009, or 2010. It's been a long time. So we can have him back, and it'll be fine. I mean, I think the actor is currently, enjoying not being in acting, so it's fine. But still, I would love to have him back. All I'm saying.
And then switching to the Juliet side of this, I was a sobbing mess. The Juliet and Perry conversation, like, uh, I love them. I love that Perry wants to be there for her. I love that Juliet is taking responsibility for what she did. Like, I think the after effects of this story are better than the actual story was, and the story was great. But this next phase, I think, is going to be my favorite part of this whole thing.
Mm, it's really good. Like they've set up some really interesting stories that they get to play with her. I'm curious how she's gonna handle being in jail. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle um, the dynamic of her and James, and her and Marnie, and just seeing where all this goes. The actress is playing a phenomenal job.
Oh
The
my
way they've
god,
got her
so
in
good.
jail and looking like in jail and doing all that, like I'm really, really excited for where these things go.
The one thing that did make me go, huh, is the fact that Romeo took Marnie on a vacation to get her
It's
mind off of
COVID.
things. I
I just
wanted
blame.
Romeo there to react.
I just go ahead and blame COVID. Like that's my go-to for everything. It's just it's COVID. Whatever. Like I agree. And had this been a normal year, like I think my standards would be higher. But right now I'm like, well, we'll just blame the Rona. You know, like either it was very weird and jarring that they neither of them were there, but at least they acknowledged it.
Yeah,
And we're like, yeah, no, she's not here because insert reason, but it's better than not mentioning it at all and us be like, well, this is a glaring omission.
true.
So, what else, or is there anything else you want to discuss for Hollyoaks?
Just a general thing. How are you handling, like, how are you feeling about post COVID Hollyoaks? Are you noticing the distance? Are you missing the intimacy? Because I
Intimacy,
feel
not
like,
really. The distance, it depends on the story, and it depends on the perspective and the episode. So if I get taken out of the story, or I don't care, or I just get bored, um, that's when I notice it. Then because I'm looking for something, right? I'm just like, all right, Tony's talking to Diane and Verity about Edward. Here we go. Notice how they're all, 6 feet apart and they're all spaced out and they're all doing this. Or the way that they got the camera is they're cutting between shots to make them look like they're, like it's little things. Like I noticed at those points. But overall, it doesn't bother me. Like it's not something like on the American sets when I'm like, you guys are clearly a mile away from everybody, and it's weird and disjointed, and I don't like it. It's something where you can tell COVID's obviously still affecting the production of the show, but they're handling it as well as they can, and I'm
exactly.
enjoying it, and it's fine.
The
I'd
one
rather
thing I
have that
will
than
say
not.
though, I'm missing hugs. Like there are moments
Oh,
like when Mercedes lost the baby or
poor.
when Liberty was facing down Nico. Like there are moments that scream for hugs um and touches of comfort that you just can't get because of COVID, and that's what I'm missing the most, I think.
Agreed. I do. I see when you said intimacy, like I'm thinking just like love scenes, but there's different types of intimacy, and I think that that's a really good point because there would be more. Nancy would be holding on to Charlie, or Marnie, Juliet, or any blah 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 blah. Like there's so many different options and elements and ways they could go that they're not because of that. And that is a good point to make.
And that it, it, it it's jarring to me in a sense that, oh well, it was very clearly a hug would go here and it's not, and I miss it and I need it.
So just wear your damn mask, people. Just wear your damn mask. That's all we're
Please.
saying. Get vaccinated. Jesus. All right. So, very cool. Anything else?
um no, that's about it.
Awesome. Well, with that, then, hey, thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Tony Ann, for joining me today. I had
Anytime.
fun. You can follow Tony Ann at XO, Tony Roney XO, where she posts a lot about Days of Our Lives and a lot about Hollyoaks, but a lot of primetime shows as well. She is going to be. Are you guys doing a Batwoman podcast for season
Yes, we
2?
will be doing Batwoman TV talk again when the second season kicks off in a couple of weeks.
Nice. Well, we will all stay tuned for that. You can follow me at OurTake Media and at SoapWikiJohn, where I talk about literally everything ever. And we will see you again soon. Until
Bye
next time.
everybody.
Bye bye. And